We're going to move to item 5.1, proposed adopted equity report cycle. And Dr. Swift, are you presenting? All right, Dr. Swift will present.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board, those who are joining us in person and remotely. I really appreciated the opportunity to be with the Equity Advisory Group and would invite members Byers and Franklin to pitch in at any moment your thoughts. Members, we were with that group last Tuesday to really begin the discussion of a new way of reporting on equity processes, equity work, equity, both leading and lagging indicators. And I have heard from many just a desire to really dive more deeply into the components of our district and our operations and how we are carrying out our work with equity. We say equity and excellence are our compass points for children, and yet sometimes with our equity reporting we get into this very shallow but very wide report. And so what we discussed last week with the Equity Advisory was really a deeper dive into individual topics, placing those topics along a 12-month or say 10-month even continuum. It doesn't mean that we would only hear about things once a year, but that we would have one time a year where we really dive deep into the data and explore the equity questions about that area to really see how we're doing in our work. I appreciated the feedback from Equity Advisory, and they really encouraged us to keep a balance of the deep dive into practice and process and outcomes alongside getting that strategic look. So we, before the end of our discussion, had kind of come back to these monthly reports alongside, say, a state of the schools that would be a more holistic report. So I really appreciated the help of the Equity Advisory. We explored all of the areas listed on your document: enrollment and class size, graduation, CTE, state assessment, ACT achievement, attendance and absenteeism, student behavior, restorative processes and suspensions, partnerships, human resources, if we're representing or representative, and how we're doing with our recruitment and retention, and then all of our special programs. We don't suppose that this is a complete list, but we had our NASS report in the fall and found that very useful, and we're thinking of community connections, Montessori, STEAM, LVS, our early childhood, college and career, and so on. So members, we were bringing to you this evening this proposal of taking really an adjustment in our approach to equity reporting. If the board is supportive, we'd like to bring you a comprehensive. I'm really proud of our data team. We've been meeting for weeks on enrollment and class size. Seems like a very simple, straightforward report, and yet there are hundreds of man-hours behind really understanding where we are at every grade level throughout the district and using that information to really shine the light on whether all of this around shining the light on whether our equity talk and our equity walk match each other. And so that is the goal of data reporting around equity, and I'll look forward. I know my team and I will be listening for your thoughts and your questions and your recommendations. We're excited to open this time of deep analysis into our equity work through the lenses of all of the pieces and parts of our organization.
want to add?
Oh, yeah. At the Equity Council, we had a good discussion around the topic of equity, or reporting on equity. What I think is good about this particular approach is that it gives us the opportunity on many of these topics to go deeper into them, rather than all of them trying to be packaged in one big report where we can easily miss portions. I think the last equity report, we ended up with a lot more questions than we did answers. And from my view, I think this approach may give us the answers so that we can start addressing some of the issues that I think actually our data shows. If you look at it, it just doesn't show them well because it's really too general. These will be more specific, more drilled down, so when we're looking at an issue, we will end up hopefully with better information, more clarity, so if we need particular action, we can take it.
I hadn't planned on speaking, but okay. This is my first time on the equity group, and so it was nice and refreshing to see all the different minds and the different walks of life of everybody that make up an actual equity group. And to see the perspective from everybody. You know, we kind of went down memory lane on some of the things that we did in school. So that gave us a whole lot of ways to figure out how to tie all that into the children that we have today. You know, some of the children we have today mimic what we grew up with. So to be able to bring all those different minds together and work out how to better assist our children, how to help our district with the attendance and the absenteeism, the enrollment in class sizes, and to be able to see exactly where that trend is coming from, and so that we can get in front of the trend before it gets out of hand. So I'm looking forward to the work that we're going to do with the equity group.
Carol, did you want to, I just want to make sure you have, I know that you're our other.
I'm here, but I was unable to go to the Equity Advisory Council. I had some personal issues happening that night, so I don't have anything to report on that committee, but yes, I am a part of that committee.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
So it sounds like the committee then, when you're doing the reporting, before it would come to the board, the equity committee would have a chance to review, provide input, and then let us know if there's anything we're missing. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then we talked about that if something emerges that we might want to get input from the Equity Council on developing.
Yeah, we did talk about it, and it's a topic that we're going to need to discuss more because there's no structure for that currently. So we will be talking about that in the future.
So in addition to the reporting, just those things that emerge that are of specific pressing matter that might be outside of the
Yes. Yep.
reports that are coming. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
I think we've heard what we needed. If the members have shared.
Enrollment class size. So at the next meeting, we'll hear on enrollment and class size. Is that correct?
And if we're going to, there's just the rhythm of their monthly meetings, so we may need to do some offline talking about how to get that.
Do the alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How to get in sync with the reporting.
Okay. So it might be that for this upcoming report, you would be off, and then you'll be ready for the next one.
That would
to be on. Okay.
That would be our intention. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions from? Yeah.
Dr. Swift, I think this question is for you. So in the written report, there's a note about artifacts. Is that just a placeholder to say that you'll be further identifying those particular pieces of data or artifacts that go with each one of these different categories?
Yes, and I didn't share that very clearly there, but our hope is that there would be a list of expected and consistent artifacts
Okay.
in each area, and then also equity questions about each topic that as good practitioners, we would be asking.
Okay.
Hopefully, and the advisory group offered to help us with that.
Okay. And do you think, obviously, we meet 12 months out of the year. Do you anticipate that this kind of set of draft reports would be kind of spread out across those 12 months? Or would you think about condensing the bulk of them during the school year?
Absolutely, that's exactly our thought, is 9 or 10 months, whatever the board would prefer
Okay.
on the rhythm, and then giving a state of the schools once or twice a year to
Okay.
pull it all together. But we would schedule that as the board prefers.
I really appreciate the idea that you will be working to help the board identify those things that we should be expecting to see in each of those categories.
Yes.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also like that you have highlighted, I like that the equity committee is thinking about Montessori and STEAM and LVS. And I really like that you all came up with, and now, the other things we more typically see around enrollment and class size and graduation rates, all of those things are relevant. But I very much appreciate that the committee and the ELT is looking at the special programming data and how that might be impacting our equity work. So that's pretty exciting to see too. So, okay. All right. Are there additional questions or comments pertaining to the equity? Anything else? Okay. Just very much thank you to Yolanda and Bob and Carol, because I can envision that this committee is going to become even more prominent and important, and you're doing a lot of reorganizing at the same time. So just thank you for your leadership on that committee, and we look forward to seeing how this evolves.